Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. One of this season's most eagerly awaited new musicals is Rocky, which is based on Sylvester Stallone's 1976 Academy Award-winning film. And stepping into the ring as the iconic role of Rocky Balboa is Andy Karl. And we are here on opening night at Roseland, where I celebrated with the company.
This ain't about brave, this ain't about tough, and wanting it bad ain't good enough. 'Cause everyone knows there won't be a chance in hell I'll win. I know where I'm from, I know who I am, but something in me don't give a damn. See it through, keep on standing. Keep on standing. If I fall, let me get up. If I'm hurt, let me keep going. If a prayer can never come true, let me think of you and try to keep on standing.
So tell me what you thought tonight.
Oh my God, I had such a good time. What a good time. It was like muscle and blood and excitement and heart and love. I loved it.
So did you have any expectations going in? What did you hear going in?
I heard that there's a lot of like technical elements. They were having some tough times in previews and tech. I heard that Andy was amazing and Stallone was going to be there. I got everything. It was awesome.
So let's talk about Andy Karl. How brilliant is he?
He's fantastic. He's delicious. He's lovely to look at. He so embodies Rocky, and I was so proud of him. Just so proud of him.
Like I just went the distance, real. It's very surreal, as I said before, to sit in the audience and see your character being interpreted by someone else and doing a great job of it. And for a new generation and the new Adrian, these are kind of like my children, you know what I mean? And they've just taken it and just made it their own, which is so important. I was worried that it would be a parody or try to imitate. They didn't. It's very, very fresh. And I was incredibly impressed by a standing ovation during the fight.
What's it been like working on this musical?
It's been terrific. I know it's not what I normally do. I'm a Shakespearean actor, so I come over and I feel a little intimidated by all the talent around me. These guys are so versatile and disciplined. They sing, they dance, they act, and they have great senses of humor and great energy. And I'm kind of in awe of how young and talented they are. So I just try to keep up with them, basically.
You play this wonderful, iconic role. Talk about the man that you play.
Well, it's a very interesting role. A guy whose story is not unlike Rocky. He never made it big himself. He's been living kind of a bitter, somewhat life, living through his fighters. And this is a fighter that he thought might have been really good and disappointed him. And then the opportunity comes and he lives through him almost as a father living through his son, you know. And it is very iconic. And I get to follow the footsteps of Burgess Meredith. So, you know, that's worth gold itself. Yeah.
Congratulations, it's opening night. How do you feel?
Oh, elated and relieved and just joyous to be here and just having this experience is once in a lifetime.
I'm out of my body right now. And out of my mind, I believe. It was so exciting. And the audience tonight just erupted, and to have Stallone there, and it was spectacular. I mean, it was the highlight of my life.
What was it? Who brought you into the project originally?
Tom Meehan. Stallone had approached him him first, and Tom brought us onto the project. We'd have known him and had known him for a long time, but and I guess he had his eye on us, thank goodness. So,
Were you big fans of the movie before you started working on this?
I was a huge fan of the movie. I saw it when it first came out, and I remember the entire theater leaped to its feet and screamed, including me. And I've never been a boxing fan. I'm afraid of the sport, but it's a movie that just makes you feel every emotion there is, and it seems like our audiences are doing the same thing.
Steven, were you a big fan?
I was. My high school marching band played it, and I played the cymbals. And so it was like da 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 da. That was my part. That's the most important part of that, actually.
It is.
Yes, it is, totally.
You know, I love your music styles and all the different shows that you do. Is there a style that you call this music?
I wanted it to be, I grew up in Pittsburgh, which is not too dissimilar to Philly. I wanted it to be really authentic. I wanted it to be basic. I wanted it to have a sense of pride to what they're singing about, and I knew it had to be simple but powerful, and moments of extreme fragility against moments of extreme power and adrenaline, and that was really what I was trying to do with the show.
Thomas, how do you feel tonight? It's opening night.
Well, you know, it's been a long journey to get here. We first talked about Rocky with Stallone 10 years ago, and there's been detours to places, faraway places like Brooklyn, where we did a long workshop on to Hamburg, Germany. So from Brooklyn to Germany, you know, we finally got to Manhattan. And opening night on Broadway it's a thrill, you know. And we gave the cast gave their finest performance tonight. It was a knockout. And you know, everybody thought you couldn't make a musical of Rocky, and my first thought was, yes, this is a terrible idea. But the more I looked into it and worked with Stallone, I saw that this is a wonderful romantic story. The underdog that wins. You know, David and Goliath as well as Cinderella, all rolled into one really exciting story that can move an audience, which is really what you want to do. You want to entertain, you want people to laugh and cry both. And I think maybe in this one we've got it.
What's it been like working on this with the whole boxing and everything else?
It's been amazing. I mean, Steven Hoggett is an artist and a friend, and we complement each other very well. He really would concentrate on the fights and the technique there, and I would work on the training sequences, and then we would sort of cross-pollinate and help each other out in other areas. And I think we were both very much on the same page of it needing to feel gritty and real. So that was our challenge, and working together has been really a treat.
Because all your dances are all character-driven, as opposed to big production numbers. Was that a challenge for you, or do you like working that way?
You know, I do love doing big splashy production numbers, and I really enjoyed working in this process with keeping it in the 70s and keeping it, the characters, their movement drawn from their situation in the moment and what time it is in the period, and that's why Apollo's stuff is so cool. And I looked at old Soul's Train, and you know, just to get that individual looseness that they had back then. So it was really interesting.
So what were the biggest challenges for you? Because it works so beautifully your direction.
Oh, thank you. I think the things that were really challenging were thinking about how you depict, you know, the working class in musical theater in a way that feels authentic, and how you get those intimate scenes to feel really intimate and like a play. And that's important because the film, you misremember it as being an indie film, you misremember it as being black and white, and you want to have that sense of the epic and the intimate at the same time.
Because the book scenes are so intimate. You know how beautiful they are in the apartment, how they are in the pet store, and then you have that big spectacle at the end.
Yeah, well, I love how there's a scene in Rocky's apartment in the first act that's like an 8-minute book scene. It's so outrageous and unconventional to do that. And then the final fight, of course, being actually able to be a participant in those stories by being there, by being at the fight and being surrounded and immersed in it. It's really exciting to watch people get that worked up.
Talk about your leading man, Andy Karl.
Yeah. Andy Karl's fantastic. You know, I'd never seen him perform a leading role before. I just seen him do all these great character parts, and he just blew me away with this. You know, his masculinity, but being able to play this innocence. You know, all the complications that are the Rocky character, and he embodies it so well, and he's worked so hard, and I'm really proud of him.
It's opening night. How do you feel?
I am ecstatic. I mean, it's an amazing team. It's a big fat musical. We've been together for 3 months. It's a long journey. It's the longest journey I've ever been a part of, and it's great to have a party.
I've always seen you do plays. It's so exciting. I was like, oh my God, she's in a musical, a big splashy musical.
I know, that is all because of Jim Carnahan. Thanks, Jim. He knew I had done Into the Woods at the McCarter last year, and he's like, what? I've known you for 10 years. Do you sing? And I was like, I mean, you know, as my mom thinks I can. So then I knew Timbers from before, and they were just like, oh, well, why don't you, it's a new character, we don't know, you know, there are lots of things, and they know that I've done a lot of new plays, and I think that was kind of a fun mix of the things that I love to do and I haven't gotten to do, some of it.
Talk about this great role you get to play.
Well, she's not in the movie. Oh, she's very briefly in the movie. She's the pet shop owner, Gloria, and it was funny because I talked a little bit with Sly about it at our first preview, and it was very fun. I don't know if I can totally relay all of that, but it was a very funny conversation, and in terms of making it bigger for the play was to kind of show the world that Adrian is living in with Philly, what it is to be a woman in Philly. That these are the women who go out to the bar and who celebrate and do it this way, and she's just not, she doesn't fit in that way. But at the same time, because I'm with Polly, that there's a little bit of a protectiveness to her, that I care about her and look out for her and want her to like get into the world. But it's not maybe the same way that I am. So it's a little more, you know, estrogen in the muscles of Rocky.
Iconic role you play in this. Talk about him.
Well, I guess the thing about it is, and I think this applies even more so to Andy and Margo, there are so many things that people want satisfied by that iconic role, because people need a little of that when they come to see it, you know? And to do that, but make it your own, is sort of the thing to try to do and hopefully pull off, you know? Paulie's a little bit different already in the musical. I mean, he's got a girlfriend. You know, Paulie has a girlfriend. Paulie had a girlfriend in the movie. You know, but okay. So once you accept that, then like the sort of challenge to me was to sort of have that version, but still try to keep the essence of what Paulie is, and the essence of what Burt Young did. You know, because it's, you know, and we're very different physical types. You know, me and Burt Young. So that to me is what I try to do. I try to honor what he did, you know, and then satisfy sort of what this needs. So hopefully that's, you know, hopefully it works.
Oh, you do a beautiful job. And what about all those iconic moments that the audiences sort of know from the film that you're all a part of, and they just howl like they're at a rock concert?
Yeah. Well, actually, you know, I did Lucky Guy with Tom Hanks, and Hanks came to see the first preview. In the first preview, and he called. I'll give him credit. I think it was hilarious. He calls it the signs of the Rocky Cross. When people make the signs of the Rocky Cross out there, and everybody just like, yes, the eggs, the stairs, you know. So yeah, it's. I mean, people love it, and the way they pull it off, and the way that guy Alex pulls it off, and the whole creative team pulls it off, is stunning.
Is it surreal? What's this whole experience been like for you, getting this role and taking this journey?
I mean, surreal is a really good word for it. I mean, I like to think it's like the underdog story, you know? Girl is babysitting, girl gets Broadway show, and it happens to be Rocky the musical, and work with, you know, such an amazing creative team and actors. I mean, it couldn't be better.
You were so good taking on this iconic role. Were you a big fan of the movie?
You know, it's a funny thing, I didn't actually watch the movie until I was about like 6 callbacks in. It was a 9 callback process, only because I didn't want to copy, you know, and Talia Shire does such a beautiful, beautiful performance in the movie that by the time I've watched it, it just enhanced, you know, the process for me.
And working with this creative team, what it's been like for you?
It's so wonderful. I mean, to also work on an original musical is a dream come true, because I have the creative team there, and we can ask questions and we can talk about the story that we're trying to tell. And when I saw those names as the creative team, I mean, I was like, okay, something's going really right here, you know.
You've had a wild journey with this show because they hired you. You did the workshop first, right?
That's right.
Then you went to Hamburg.
Yeah.
You learned German.
Yeah.
And now you're back here.
Ja, ich habe es gelernt. Ja. Und ich bin hier noch. Yeah. So, it is a wild journey, but I think we're lucky as actors when we get to learn so many things about the world around us. I was talking to someone the other day and just talking about how lucky we are because whatever role that we are ascribed to, we get to delve into different cultures and sometimes different languages, sometimes learning a martial art or, in my case, learning boxing. So I'm very fortunate to have had that opportunity.
Now, I heard the audiences went wild in Hamburg and are still doing that.
Yeah.
Was that wild for you?
Yeah, it's a wild show because it brings out that wildness in all of us. Some people appreciate it for the blood and the sweat and the tears that you see in the ring, but a lot of people appreciate it for the love story as well. And I would wager that a lot of the big macho guys you see coming back again and again, not only just to watch the movie but to the show, they're not just coming back for the violence.
Yeah.
They're coming back for the love story. It touches them, and it touches me every time I see the movie.
Let's talk about the ending of the show.
Yeah.
You work with Steven and Kelly on that. Talk about the whole end of the show.
Of course. Certainly Steven and Kelly. Kelly gets the nice visual for everything, and Steven, helps us with making sure we communicate what we're doing in the ring in terms of like a language. It's not just throwing fists. It's not just, blocking punches. It's not just, taking a punch here or taking a punch there. It's communication. It's as much about language and communication as anything else. It's a heightened language fighting is.
What is it like on those iconic moments in the film, like when you crack the eggs and everything, when you start running and everything, when they go crazy like a rock concert?
It's wonderful. I mean, I sort of expected that there was going to be people who would think that isn't that charming, it's from the movie. But people love those moments. And so I'm not going to overdo them. I'm just going to throw them out there and people are going to love eating the eggs and going up the stairs and doing all the iconic things from the movie. But we're also bringing the heart and the integrity and the dignity of the show. And that's what people really respond to. And we earned that last 20 minutes of the show, which is pretty exciting.
Talk about this iconic role in general and getting to know Sylvester Stallone, and what is it like getting to know him and taking this on and making it work for the stage and making it your own?
I'm still sort of putting it all together in my head. I mean, I had Sylvester Stallone in my dressing room the other night. We're just chatting about, how, he would do something here or what Rocky would say here, and he doesn't care about money. Well, why we mention money? It's very interesting to tap into that world, and so I'm just sitting there wide-eyed and listening to everything he has to say. And he's been very supportive and very integral in putting this show together. He's been working on the Broadway production for 12 years now. So again, it's his baby, and he's got so much to say about it, and I could pick his brain for hours on what he has to say about it. And, we're like this.
You do everything in this show, everything. I mean, what is the biggest challenge for you?
I mean, the biggest challenge is the wonderful thing about it is doing this character, starting from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. There's this arc physically and this arc with dignity and humility, and so it makes me go through it, and at the end of some of these huge montage scenes where I'm just sweating and giving everything I can, that's what it takes to play this character. And so when I'm exhausted, I feel like, I've reached the character, I'm there. And so I really sort of take it in stride as far as so what, I'm tired. Of course I'm tired. I'm playing Rocky. It's get up and do it again. Get up and keep fighting. So it's that spirit that gets me through.